Today we're going on a long hike out to the tip of Cape Lookout. Right where my finger's pointing is where the parking lot is, where you can drive to, right where that gully comes through, and then it's a 2.5-mile hike out to the end of the Cape. On this trip, we'll go by the spot where the World War II B-17 Flying Fortress crashed. Are you ready to go for your hike?
Yes.
Well, look at, they've even put new signs up here.
Uh-huh.
We can hear the ocean roaring down below us as we hike out the trail, but we can't see it very well, maybe a glimpse now and then, but when we get out farther, we are dwarfed by the size of the large Sitka spruce growing along trails edge. The trail we'll be taking is about 900 feet above the old signs that we made back in the 70s. It's western red cedar, and we routed out all the sign material on it. It doesn't look as nice and bright as it did when we first made it, and we have a stack of them stacked there. And of course, the secretary needs some water. At first, the trail winds through a corridor of trees with the ocean roaring down below us. It's only a short distance out here to where the plaque is, where the bomber crashed. A big clump of licorice fern is stubbornly holding on to the tree ahead of us. Some of the old spruce have a lot of character. The brisk sea breezes have a tendency to form these trees into various different shapes.
Bottom of this.
Some say this trail is one of the most beautiful trails on the entire Oregon coast, and it's 2.5 miles out, so it's close to 5 miles round trip, but it's a well worth it hike. A very pleasant hike through the old Sitka spruce trees on the sea cliff above. Yeah, those are the deer fern.
Lots of them.
Plenty of them.
All around here.
It was about right here where we first start getting our uninterrupted view of the beach down below. We're about 900
ocean.
It was up about here where I stood and watched They were digging for treasure out there at one time on the beach.
Wow.
A guy from Newport had a permit to go in there and dig, and he said the treasure was still there, but he couldn't reach it. The tide came in too soon. But there are all these rumors about treasures, and I haven't seen any treasures come out yet. It's nice.
Yeah. Ocean down below.
Yeah.
On August 1943, a four-motored Army Air Force plane crashed 500 feet west of here. This marker, erected by the Oregon State Highway Commission, is commemoration of the members of this flight crew that perished in the line of duty. And it's got the pilot, Roy James Lee, Second Lieutenant, co-pilot Robert W. Wilkins, Second Lieutenant, Navigator Victor Lowenfeld, Second Lieutenant, Bombardier Survivor Wilbur Perez, Second Lieutenant, Aerial Engineer G. Delmar F. Priest, Sergeant, Assistant Aerial Engineer William Pruner, Sergeant, Radio Operator Benjamin Purzio, Sergeant, Assistant Radio Operator Paul Manderfield, Sergeant, Armor Gunner Harry Liley, Sergeant, Assistant Arm G. Hoyt W. Wilson, S/Sergeant.
It is where the plane crashed. There was one survivor, Mr. Wilbur Perez from Denver, Colorado, and he came back and told the story. In the 1970s, I made many a trip out here and took a lot of old black and white pictures, some of which you're seeing now. Bill B-17 crashed right into these trees right in here. Could be possible that it hit that tree right there. Plenty of ferns on that tree. There's the old sword fern. Here, come over and
Yeah, those sword fern,
look at them.
they're sure sticking out.
Real nice big sword fern. The trail is quite well maintained so far as we make our way out toward the end. There was a Stone Age village site right down here where they went down and shucked the mussels and other things, seafood they could get off the rocks, and there's a huge mound of them right down there where they had access to this coal. After this point, the trail isn't quite as well maintained, and it's been raining quite a lot lately, but the trail can be like this most of the year because the fog condenses on the trees and falls like rain all summer long. Makes the trail plenty muddy, but that's okay. It's well worth the trip out here. People have tramped in these. Our pace has slowed somewhat since the trail's getting a little bit hectic.
Kind of muddy.
Muddy and roots ups and downs.
I have almost come back through.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
Do you see any whales out there today?
Not whales. We saw a bunch of sea lions, though.
It takes some doing to find our way through this tangle of roots and mud. I didn't remember it being this way back in the 1970s, but it sure got that way now. These big old spruce roots are just everywhere. We're taking our time and very carefully picking our way through these roots. I think if they were to cut these roots out, then probably it would kill the trees. So I guess that's the lesser of the evils, having the roots on the trail. And if you're determined enough to go out there, you could be determined enough to get through the mass of old roots growing ever which way along trail's edge. It's probably not doing those roots any good being tramped.
I took off my glove because I was getting mud on my glove. Now I'm getting mud on my hands. This is terrible. Look at my shoes. And look at yours.
Further out the trail, the scenery gets more breathtaking every step we take, and we can look ahead and see a rip right off the end of Cape Lookout. That's merging currents as the tide's probably changing. We're up on the cliff overlooking the sea now, right straight down below us, and we're keeping a close lookout for some of the Pacific gray whales. Somebody said they saw one out here this morning, so we're watching and want to be the first one to spot one, but nothing so far. Right straight below us during the summer is where the murre nesting. I'd like to, yeah.
Hey Mom, I'd like to give a shout out.
Yeah. They're having a good time out here. Up here on the beach, right up next to the Cape, there was a big shipwreck there. I think that's a picture of my son Dwayne around some of the wreckage just south of Cape Lookout down along the beach. Or down there's one of each. The Pioneer, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but I'm going to find it out. And one of them was a lumber carrier, and lumber was strewn up and down the beach for 6 foot deep in places. And so they came down at that time. It was an old sailing ship, like 1900. And so they came down, and our son Dwayne at the old wreck of the Pioneer down by Cape Kiwanda.
Day, it was like, damn, we should do that.
That is Cape Kiwanda. Yeah, great day. Rock in the far distance down below us. Cape Kiwanda's where the dory boats go out to sea fishing. A little bird joins us for storytelling time right at the trail's end as he It was right down on the beach down here where that big sailing ship wrecked with a bunch of lumber on it, and then another one wrecked on down beyond Haystack Rock and Cape Kiwanda down there. There's the Boy Scout camp down there. And right down here on the beach is where I saw some people. They had a permit to dig for treasure, but they never found any. It's hard to pull ourselves away from this beautiful area, but we have to be heading back. Numerous conchs growing on the tree. They usually only grow on dead and dying trees.
Did you see the ocean down below?
Yeah, I see that. That's nice. Cape Lookout from the beach down below.